iRobusto's coverage of the 2017 IPCPR trade show is brought to you by Que Vida Cigars.
All right, this is Nick R. Agua, Nicholas Melillo. You're at the Foundation booth, Las Vegas, 2017. Excited to be here. Love what you guys are doing. We got some new treats in the house. The Wise Man, also known as Huehuense Maduro, is in the house. This is a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, Corojo binder, and I tweaked the blend than the original Huehuense. This has a little bit of Conde tobacco from Nicaragua, Esteli, and Jalapa. This is a soft box pressed, I say Cuban box pressed cigar. I'm really happy with how this blend came out. This is, the proof's in the pudding. I'm hoping you guys are liking it just as much as I do. You got a lot of dark espresso notes. The Mexican San Andreas, I've been working in Mexico since 2003 buying tobacco from there. I actually have some projects. I have a consulting company for tobacco behind the scenes of Foundation called Melillo International. So I work with farmers in Mexico. Just to give you guys the geek, it's starting to turn into a long speech now, but bro. Mexico for the longest time would go into the fields and prime the tobacco all at once instead of priming the bottom two leaves, middle two leaves, top leaves. A lot of farmers, this is how things were done. Then the tobacco would go into the curing barns and then into a fermentation pile of 10 to 12,000 pounds. They would bring the temps up really high, push the tobacco out. Still great tobacco, but they get to turn it over really quick. I started working with farmers. We get in there and we prime the tobacco properly. Then the tobacco comes out of the curing barn and I ship it to Nicaragua. Okay? It's then sorted and selected. We have a lot more resources in Nicaragua. And then it's put into 7,000 pile pilons and fermented at lower temperatures. I say it's like my grandma's pasta sauce, you know? It's low temperatures, you simmer, just cooking it all day as compared to popping the can, putting it on the stove. Why? Flavor. Flavor country. That's where we're going every time we smoke these babies. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We think you'll be able to taste the difference in these cigars. So, Highclere Castle. This is a bit of a surreal project for me, Foundation, and the whole team. And I'm going to introduce you to a friend here shortly. He's going to tell us a little bit more about this. But Highclere is probably one of the most famous castles in the world. It's lived in by the 8th Earl of Carnarvon. His great-grandfather discovered King Tut's tomb. He's the godson to the Queen of England. A friend of mine from Connecticut has a very amazing moonshine distillery company. His name is Adam. Adam, if you come in here for a second. Adam is working on a whiskey.
Yes, we're building a distillery on the Highclere Castle estate next year.
You don't say.
Yes, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you're building it on the estate. It's a 5,000 acre estate?
5,000 acre estate, fully farmed. A couple thousand head of sheep. Lord and Lady Carnarvon are actual farmers, so it's the real thing.
Unbelievable. So Adam introduced me to Lord Carnarvon, and we went down to Nicaragua, and we came out with Highclere Castle cigars.
Yeah,
let's see them.
Yes.
The tradition at Highclere Castle was that the gentleman would always retire to the library after dinner for a cigar and a smoke, and a glass of whiskey or brandy. Sure. And we were really inspired by that because the tradition and history of cigars and smoking at Highclere Castle goes back about 150 years. The Carnarvons have always kept a humidor, and there's a lot of very important visitors and heads of states from all over the world that have been to Highclere Castle, and they would sit at the table and they would enjoy a good smoke.
And there's a smoking room.
There's a smoking room.
And the library.
Absolutely.
So when Adam told me this, I start freaking out, and I say, Adam, you know, where were they getting cigars from? Can we get some, you know, documents and see?
Absolutely.
And Adam started talking to the castle.
With Nick's obsession over cigars and blending, all his craft. We were really inspired by this concept that we could create a cigar that would have been like something smoked at Highclere Castle at the turn of the century, you know, in the 1900s. And so with a lot of research, we got access to some of the archives, actual receipts of cigars that had come in, to Highclere Castle from their dealers in London.
Partagas factory.
Partagas,
Right.
turn of the century Partagas. And Nick, of course, went off the rails and started playing with these blends, using some of the rarest tobacco that he'd possibly get access to.
So this is some of the best Connecticut wrapper you can get, the best on the market, okay? Connecticut Shade, it's a very thin, beautiful tobacco, okay? A lot of times it's not thick tobacco, so it's tough to buffer some of the heavier filler tobaccos. If you use a lot of heavy filler tobaccos, a lot of times you put Connecticut Shade, they come through really strong and they sort of overtake your palate. So I started working with Mata Fina Binder from Brazil. It's one of my favorite tobaccos. I've been traveling to Brazil since 2005, working with Mata Fina, another rare tobacco, one of the original tobaccos from which all tobaccos come from for cigar tobaccos. So it was able to really buffer the beautiful filler tobaccos that we're using. We're using a very rare hybrid seed that we call Nicadan. It's a cross between Criollo and Corojo. Unbelievable, unique tobacco. We use from Ometepe, which is the south of Nicaragua. There's 2 volcanic islands in the middle of Lake Nicaragua. Beautiful tobacco. And Jalapa, of course, has a really nice sweetness, so it's a creamy, excellent, smooth. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, creamy is the right word. You know, people use the word elegant a lot with cigars. I think it's overused sometimes. The word I'd really use to describe this is refined. And what I mean by that, and I've been telling this story kind of throughout the day, with my spirits background, I love the way cigars and wine and spirits kind of play together, coffee as well. I've had this cigar with a single malt scotch, a peaty, heavy single malt, and it fit perfectly. What's really special about this is it also goes with a glass of champagne. It doesn't overpower champagne. So Nick has designed it in such a way, it's so well balanced that it's full flavored without being overpowering. And it really is an elegant, refined smoke.
And for those guys that like something fuller, also there's body and strength there. So you can smoke it in the morning. The Corona I smoked this morning.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 years of work to make this thing happen, and we're incredibly proud of it. So far today, the feedback has been out of control.
People have been lighting them up right in the booth, so we're really excited.
Very good. Well, hey, thank you guys so much.
Yo, I'm glad. Thank you guys for being patient.
Appreciate it.